All right, chat. So, some people may know that while this is all definitely a Magic stream, you know, what I do here on Twitch certainly extends to performance art. And today, for this next deck, in addition to the deck being a piece of artwork, we're also, I'm just gonna be honest. Things are about to get a little weird. All right, so I do terrible things for money, and if you're wondering what I'll do, how much money do you have is the question. I'm sure some amount of people are going to leave, but I've been given dollars to do this, so this is what we're gonna do for the next hour. We're gonna enjoy my wonderful voice, and it's kind of perfect that we get to play Hardened in the Forge while we get to do this meme. Don't you just want to be hardened while we play this deck, chat? Anax Hardened in Forge here. Power equal to your devotion to red. Very, very powerful. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, there is a 1/1 Satyr token that's created, unless that creature has big, strong 4 or more power, and then you get 2 Satyrs instead. The rest of this deck is kind of a core red-black Aristocrats style shell, and there's so many good 3-drops you can play in this archetype. We've got Mayhem Devil here. He's just looking to have a good time, because I know many of you out there are looking to have a good time. We've got Chandra here, who, while Chandra doesn't necessarily have good synergy with Hardened in the Forge, Hardened in the Forge explicitly does not care about creature tokens. Chandra does work well with the Cavalcade of Calamity here, which is wonderful. And then a really powerful synergy that this deck has going on is we have the Witch's Oven, which pairs with Cauldron Familiar here. And the cat, when the cat dies and comes back, it's going to go ahead and trigger Hardened in the Forge here. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this and see how good Hardened can be along with everything else that we have going on here today. Do you like when I shuffle my cards, chat? Do you like that? Do you like when we shuffle the cards? This hand doesn't have any black mana in it, but I think because we have the Scorch Spitters along with the Light Up the Stage here, we're going to go ahead and keep good chance that we're able to find a black source with our extra card draw, and Cavalcade plus Scorch Spitter gives us a good bit of aggression. Thank you for the 10 months, Messier. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And right off the top, because we are a true professional, the Blood Crypt is here. Thank you for the sub-gifty, Kind Fiend. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Pelt Collector's a little bit worrisome here. Lots of our creatures are nice and tiny. We're going to have to grow them up to be big and strong to attack past their girl creatures. Priest of the Forgotten Gods sounds like a fantastic bull. She can go ahead and take care of some of these big pesty green-red monsters for us. I hate when they stomp my priest, chat. They stomped my priest. Hardened in the Forge is kind of appealing because it's able to create a board presence that's difficult for them to kill. It's incredibly unlikely that our opponent has something like a Lava Coil here. Can you say moist? Max this out. Thank you for the 2 months of Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think we just go ahead and lead on this one here. One of the things that's good to note about Anax is he's one of those legendary cards that is very reasonable in multiples, because when you have 2 of them and one of them dies to the legend rule, you still get some Satyr tokens out of it, which is incredibly powerful. I think we go ahead and play Cavalcade here along with the Scorch Spitter. And then next turn we'll be able to, I guess actually we can just ship this turn, right? They only have 2 1/1s. It's possible they have a +2 pump spell, but that's, even if they do, we have another Anax to follow it up with. So I'm going to go ahead and ship this one right on in there. I'm actually kind of surprised too that we only lost 100 people. Normally when people pay for this, I put it at the start of the stream because some people leave. We've got a few different lines here. I think the thing we start with is by attacking with both of our creatures. That way we can trigger the spectacle for light up the stage. Get to go ahead and get some damage in here. We are down to 12, but we're racing relatively efficiently here. In the event that they didn't block, I think there's a chance that I would play a second Forge out, so we can get some good blockers in here. I think we get to go ahead and draw some cards here. Drawing cards is my favorite, chat. It makes me feel good. Quite the spectacle this stream has created, you could say. While you also don't think about attacking with her a lot of the time, it is worth noting that our priest has 1 point of power, so in the event that Priest of the Forgotten Gods wants to get frisky, she can attack and trigger our Cavalcade. Easy no blocks here. Are they just dead to this Cavalcade? The second Cavalcade, that's a Chandra. So if I activate my priest, I can sacrifice these, which will deal 2 to them and make them lose a creature. And then we'll play this, and the Chandra will make 2 tokens. The tokens trigger 6 times on this, plus they have 2 blockers. If I just play this and attack with everything, they take 8, 9, and then they take 2 extra, right? So they're just dead to playing this and attack with all. Yeah. Like I said, sometimes the priest likes to get frisky. Whee! So it looks like our opponent's attack is a little bit loose here. The Cavalcade was face up. Perhaps they didn't do the counting, but they were about to be blocking, so they should have done the counting. We've got some good tools here. We're going to go ahead and bring in some extra removal spells, especially when we're on the draw. We don't want to fall behind. We're going to go ahead and board out the Chandras here. Not a big fan of Chandra against creature decks that have big creatures in them, especially the big, strong questing beast will punish Chandra, so we want to pull her out so she doesn't get punished. I need 2 more trims here to fit in my 5 removal spells. What are the trims? It's possible Light Up the Stage is a card we wouldn't mind cutting, just because we're going to have a hard time getting frisky enough for it to trigger the spectacle cleanly. Our deck is a little bit low on the land count overall, though, so I don't know that I want to cut all of them, because this is a way that we try and hit our land drops consistently. At least one seems like a fine cut, though. Maybe Cavalcade, even though the second one was good there, especially on the draw when we're being a little bit more interactive. We can go ahead and trim that. It's your 12th month. Don't worry, normal Shouty Jeff will be back in no time. Would you believe that this voice came up because this is what just me speaking softly sounds like? People were convinced that I couldn't not yell. Not that I yell all day, chat. I speak from my diaphragm. Your diaphragm is not yelling. Kroxa plus Anax is quite the fantastic combo, isn't it? Kroxa sacrifices and then makes 2 friends here. We're hoping they don't have something like a Lava Coil here to kill our Anax and deny us the tokens. Cafena Main, thank you for the brand new tier 1 subscription. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Kind of in a bad spot. This game's a good example of why we ported in those extra removal spells. When we're on the draw in matches like this, we're often going to be put on the back foot. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy a Bonecrusher here, hoping that we get to block, but there's a good chance that this Bonecrusher gets removed before it ever gets to get inside of combat. Get a little sweaty with their Spellbreaker. I feel like our opponent's about to take us on a trip to Cleveland, chat. Good chance. I think we have died. Honestly, one of the things that's kind of the downside about this deck that we're playing is we're attempting to leverage a red aggressive deck, but we're not playing Embercleave ourselves, which I don't know that you can fit Embercleave into this archetype. There's just so many good 3-drops like Hardened in the Forge and Mayhem Devil and Chandra that are reasonable. So it's tough. It's tough to fit in all the things you want because there's just so many things that are good. Good afternoon, Chase. This is acceptable, I think. Especially on the play, we should have a better shot of not getting run over. I think I go ahead and I lead on the Fabled Passage here, probably grabbing our second mountain for the Hardened in the Forge. Yeah, the fact that these decks don't even have room to play Judith anymore really speaks volumes to just the density of good cards that you have in your deck. I think with Cauldron Familiar drawn, we go ahead and we pivot here. We go ahead and play the Familiar and get set up with the Oven. And this way, when we get the Hardened in the Forge into play next turn, Kitty gets to start going meow and make some satyrs for us. Thanks for the biddies, Big Country. I appreciate that. This is Jeff on the Midnight Hours on 98 FM. That's another phenomenal draw. I think I would actually rather get the Mayhem Devil going here before we get the Hardened in the Forge. We have a window here to go ahead and let the Devil play with their Pelt Collector. So we want to go ahead and kill their Pelt Collector here before the big strong Spellbreaker comes into play, because the big strong Spellbreaker is going to make their Pelt Collector bigger. Also, the Spellbreaker is going to go ahead and give them hexproof, so I want to sacrifice this kitty before the Spellbreaker comes into play, so they're not protected just yet. I have another decision to make here. I could play the Hardened in the Forge and get that going. However, with the Bonecrusher Giant, we have to go ahead and stomp on the Spellbreaker, and then the Mayhem Devil lets the kitty play with it. Play with the kitty to kill the Spellbreaker. It feels like we're rapidly approaching garbage time here. Always happy to pop that cherry, kind fiend. No one's safe from the timeouts here in Hooglandia. And then, as if the board we've already assembled wasn't enough, Anax Hardened in the Forge is going to go ahead and put this into overtime for us next turn. That's another Mayhem Devil. Good golly. It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. Do 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 do. I remind you of Bob Ross. You could say Mayhem Devil with my Cauldron Familiar is just the happiest little accident. Climbing on up the ladder. Do 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 do. Gotta put all that vocal training from those years of community theater to use, right, chat? Oh no, chat. I made an oopsie. I left my water bottle in the bathroom. I'm gonna run and fetch it really quick. I apologize for the break. Did you miss me, chat? Mods, you have to tell me. Was anybody bad while I was gone? If they were bad, they probably need to be punished. Our mana is a little bit awkward here with the Fabled Passage. But I believe this hand is a keep. Like it is, last Prime sub. Guess I'll have to start subbing normally here soon. Thank you for the 3rd of a year. I appreciate the support. Nellichin, thank you for the 1/4 of a year. I think we go ahead and attack here first. They're likely not going to block with their runaway Steamkin. Philip Proctor, thank you for the 3rd of a year. Welcome back to Hoaglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. With no blocks here, we get to let them know that things are thoroughly lit. I think we leave the swamp over here, so that way we have an untapped land for turn 3 next turn. We don't have anything to do with just 1 black mana this turn. Our hope is that they'll play just a single red spell this turn, so that way Bonecrusher Giant can stompy all over this Steamkin. I'm going to go ahead and just fetch the mountain now. Get ourselves some good auto pass value in. Your wife just came in and asked what you were listening to. These are the soothing sounds of Jeff Hoagland here in Hoaglandia. How many shillings is it for Shouty, Jeff? You can't undo someone's money with other money. Am I intentionally playing ugly basics? Quite possibly. I think we're just supposed to play Hardened in the Forge here. So that way next turn we can play Priest plus play the Kroxa. Because when the Kroxa bites it, it gets the Hardened in the Forge nice and excited. Oh no! The Kroxa exiled. I forgot. I forgot it was on Light Up the Stage. We made an oopsie, chat. So, Runaway Steamkin is very aptly named. It's important to remember, and even though they look like they only have 2 mana available here, they do actually have the ability to play Embercleave. I think I'm obligated to block. I don't think we can beat an Embercleave here regardless. I think I just say, please don't have it. Like I've often said, I really like it when mono red is good in the format. However, these cleave versions of mono red just don't feel quite the same as the mono reds that I like having in the format. We definitely want to bring in Bedevil here, even though it is double black, which is a little bit difficult to cast on occasion. It does get to kill that big bad Ember Cleave before it can cleave on into us. We're going to go ahead and trim Chandra here because she's not particularly good at playing defense like we're often going to be doing in this matchup. Same reason like when we played against the Girl deck, we're going to go ahead and board in these Lava Coils. That way when we're playing defensively, we can do that a little bit more efficiently. Thank you for the quarter of a year support. I appreciate that. Continued Twitch Prime Red instead. Welcome back. I feel like the experimental frenzy part of the sideboard is likely for the control or the mid-range matchups. I think I just want this extra spot removal here against an aggressive deck. You'll often notice when I play, I drag cards like Light Up the Stage and Bonecrusher down on my curve. The reason why I do this is because when sideboarding, it's often nice to be able to visualize how beautiful our big, wonderful curve is. You want Shouty Jeff back? I'm playing Raid now since you mentioned it, and my wife hates you. Raid is wonderfully addictive. Just remember, all things in moderation. I think we lead on Spitter here, just in case we draw Light Up the Stage next turn. I want to be able to trigger that and cast it. So really, really, really hoping that we're able to find a third land next turn, ideally a red source, so that way we can start playing our threats out of our hand. Waiting. Beep bitty 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 doo 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 doo. Well, that could be worse. This does at least take a card from them and then make us 2 foods. The question is, will we be able to survive to eat those foods before the red deck runs us down? The pseudo-combo nature of the opponent's red deck makes it difficult to spend these food before you just die oftentimes. You'll note that I've enabled full control mode because I really like to be in control, but it allows me to respond to my own triggers here and gobble up this big tasty Kroxa before it sacrifices itself. They ditched an Ember Cleave. That doesn't seem to bode well for our hero, chat. Very likely possibility that they have an additional Ember Cleave in hand to discard that one. Our saving grace might be if they're short a land drop here, although Light Up the Stage works to ensure that that will not be the case. Final Titan 21, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to the wonderful state of Hooklandia. What's going on, Sunayumi? I would love to give you a shout out for that wonderful tiny pile of shillings. This attack, with no activations to make them unblockable, almost assuredly means that we're about to head to Cleveland. So this will deal 5 damage in total, so perhaps with the second Mayhem Devil drawn, we may or may not be dead still. but things are not looking particularly good for the hero of the story at the moment. We're still fairly far off of Kroxa doing anything. Only 3 cards in our graveyard at the moment. I think I just play out this other Mayhem Devil and then go ahead and attack them for 3 here. There's a chance that they don't also have a Torbrand. We could just pivot and race them here. Especially once we get to start eating this yummy, yummy pies that we made out of our Kroxa. So now in this combat step, we take 7 total down to 3. And then on the backswing, we are attacking for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm currently 1 point of damage short if I draw land. However, I can use these food to keep my opponent's board in check. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to attack for 6. And then I think we're likely going to gobble up some of these yummy pies and kill some of my opponent's creatures. This puts us up to 6, so we're less likely to die to a burn spell, and then we can eat one of our creatures with the Witch's Oven to allow us to shoot more of their things here, kind of taking control of this game, slow and steady. Mike around, thanks for the 7 months, I appreciate that. Welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and gobble up our Grim Innate in response here. If they have an Infuriate, we are going to be sorely punished. Please don't punish me. Please don't punish me. Yummy. Hoping to draw an untapped red source next turn. That's not quite the droid we're looking for. We can go ahead and gobble up this yummy food though and kill the little dodger. We can smack them for 4 and play a Scorch Spitter. I believe we're stabilizing this game, chat. We have them dead on board here. Get to force a 3rd game. One of those rare games where we got to not get run over by the Cleveland. I aim to please, Karn Daddy. Oh, Karn Daddy. Oh yeah, stomp all over that Scorch Spitter. By sacrificing the Scorch Spitter to turn it into a pie, we countered their Bonecrusher Giant. They are still just dead on board to Mayhem Devil triggers. Goodbye, friend. On to game of the 3rd. Now remember, the game where we're on the play against Mono Red, that's the easy game. So this next game is the one that's going to be hard, chat. Pretty easy mulligan here. If any of these cards off to the right were just a 2nd land, we would snap this one off, but unfortunately I gotta play a little catch and release here. Thank you for the half of year of support, Wes Porter. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Feels Magic the Gathering Man. I have to put 2 cards on the bottom of our deck here. I believe it's Basic Mountain and Grim Innate. I'm going to go ahead and fetch with the Fabled Passage right away, get that succulent auto pass value going. They're going to steal from us, chat. We're not rich, we mulligan to 5. They took our 3rd land. Why would you do that? What did my 3rd land ever do to you, opponent? We did, however, find the castle in the sky. Doesn't Castle Locthwain look like a genie lamp? A wonderful genie lamp. Rub the lamp, chat. We're going to go ahead and bake Kitty into a nice pie here before it dies inside of combat. Delicious, delicious pie. Third land, Mayhem Devil. Mayhem Devil plus Kitty should be excellent here. We're just going to pass to my opponent's turn because I don't want them to be able to kill my devil in response. Now, when they kill my devil, I get to go ahead and respond by using my cat. Get to bring the cat back, deal a damage. We get to sack the cat, deal a damage. We get to bring the cat back and deal a damage. Do I want to bring the cat back and kill their champion because it exposes the kitty to being stomped next turn? I think I'm okay with that exchange because I have 2 other creatures in my hand that I can sacrifice to generate more food with. Good moist drink of water. Bedevil, and we actually have the resources to cast it. That's potentially very good. It can insulate us against dying to a copy of Embercleave. Cleveland is not nice this time of year. I would prefer to avoid it. Missing the land drop there doesn't feel particularly stellar. I think I just go ahead and pass. I was hoping to draw another creature so we could activate our priest. Hardened in the Forge makes our Priest of the Forgotten Gods much, much worse, because they will have a plethora of satyrs running around that they don't mind sacrificing. Yep. Oh. Mistake here on my part. I believe I should have bedeviled the Hardened in the Forge in response to this Fervent Champion coming into play. If I bedeviled the Hardened in the Forge in response there, they would have generated 1 fewer tokens because this generates an additional token if the creature is 4 power or greater. Gonna go ahead and bring the cat back here, get to block one of their 4 power Dorkos. They're mousing like they might have a play. Just a castle. Okay, sitting in an airport lounge, I was legitimately concerned. I connected my headphones to the wrong source just now. What's going on, JD? Thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back to Hooglandia. The real question here is, do I kill their forge? I feel like the answer might be yes. Not only does it save me 5 points of damage this turn, but it gets the card out of my hand so that way my castle can potentially be activated for a more minimal cost starting next turn. Jerry Freeman, thank you for the 23 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. When I activate my castle here, I get to go ahead and draw an extra card, so I'll have 2 mana available. So if we draw a 2-drop... Kitty triggers quite the spectacle. Excellent. Excellent. Are you ready, chat? Bonecrusher's ready. Looks like inside of this combat step we're going to take 6 points of damage, but the kitty gets to gain 2, so we net 4 loss. We'll let first strike damage happen here, so that way they miss their castle activation. Yeah, we played them like a fiddle, chat. We played them like a fiddle. You pass that priority, Martyr 1207. You pass it real good. A copy of our own Anax Hardened in the Forge, or Mayhem Devil would be quite excellent. It was in fact just the happiest of little accidents. Missing that point of damage there for us. Anybody else hungry? I got baked cat. And now, chat, for those of you that thought this might be a painting lesson, I will now teach you how to bake your cats on a commercial scale. Opponent here, running back a very reasonable play, stomping their own creatures so that way our Bonecrusher Giant does not get to resolve. And because ours doesn't resolve, it goes to the graveyard. Bad boy, Bonecrusher. I thought you were ready, but it turns out you weren't. Bring the kitty into play. Block the giant. Eat the kitty. I feel like a flavor judge would rule against this sequence of events. There's a cat that gets in front of a giant and then gets baked into a pie, which distracts the giant so it can't hit me. Is that the Vorthos here? Can I get a flavor judge ruling? Perhaps the flavor judge is distracted by the fact that the cat makes a delicious pie. Perhaps that's why the flavor judge is okay with it. These games are quite long and grindy when we don't just end up in Cleveland right away. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. 6-6. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. You know just what I like, deck. That wasn't the Mayhem Devil I wanted for Christmas, but it'll do in a pinch. I'll do, pig, I'll do. And worth noting that while our kitty's been bouncing back and forth, keeping us alive, it's been hammering our opponent down into the ground. Kroxa's hungry, chat. Kroxa's hungry. They said no blocks. I did miss the ability to make 2 food off of this Kroxa, but I think my health total is high enough that I'd rather deal an extra damage. So if I made 2 food with the Kroxa that turn, when it sacked itself normally, I would get 1 less cat activation into play. Hey, Christopher Donis, thank you for the 7 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back to Hoaglandia. Don't worry, Corinne. We just have another 20 minutes or so of Sweet Succulent Jeff. Can you cut the line with a Gadwick Thassa deck? Of course you can, Crunchy, Crunchy, Crunchy. Of course you can. I think Kroxa goes ahead and gets a little frisky here. Takes a card out of their hand. Oh, they had a land. That means they're dead. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, Tenorka, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Did we have a good rant this morning? I don't recall. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? We did multi-5 this game, but they didn't find Cleveland, so we were A-okay. 2-0 so far with Anax Oven, although we've yet to get Anax with the cat going, so I'm not sure I can really judge the power level of those two together yet. Pretty easy mulligan here, just a lot of lands, not a lot of action. I like when there's more action, chat. Do you think I could get the first hand back? Maybe played catch and release a little too aggressively. Now here's a real question. Would I rather have Kitty with Anax or Kitty with Mayhem Devil? I think I'd rather have Kitty with Anax. I want to give him a try. Gambled and won, chat. Gambled and won. What devilry? Nothing but the purest form of entertainment in this channel. I just need you to cool down, Max, okay? Don't be so hot. Cool as a cucumber. Really hoping to draw a third land. Really hoping to draw a third land. Unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and exert some full control over Kroxa, the Death's Hunger here, and bake it into not one, but two lovely pies. Christy's aware of all of the terrible things that I do for money. She already thinks my job is quite absurd. Of course we shuffled cards, Papayo. Just for you, I can do it again. I like when Nissa shakes my world, chat. She's so good to me. If we draw our third land next turn, we might survive to be okay here. If we brick on an untapped land again, I believe we are done for. Rats. Feels Magic the Gathering. Knuckle pops? I can pop a wrist. Fisher Swamp, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Some kind of ramp strategy, it would seem. Bonecrusher Giant seems not particularly useful against lots of large creatures. I'm going to go ahead and cut those. I'm going to bring in a couple of Noxious Grasp. I'm not quite sure what else I want to do here. Perhaps Bedevil is fine. I mean, to be fair, our deck only has 11 3-drops in it. Light Up the Stage defaults to that slot, but really it deserves a lower spot in the curve. Continually popping is a sign of degrade in that area, and you should talk to your primary care physician. Well, it's been degraded since I was early teens then. It's been degraded for the better part of 2 decades. My wrist has always made that noise, as long as I can remember. Perhaps Drillbit could be okay here. I think on the draw I might bring in Drillbit and perhaps additional Bedevils to be a little bit more interactive. Perhaps I shouldn't see this on stream, because it's probably incredibly bad luck, but I've actually never broken a bone in my body year to date. I think this disc is wood. Is it wood, chat? Double oven here with no kitty to go along with it, and Priest of the Forgotten Gods with nothing to feed it. I feel like there's a chance that I should play catch and release here. Cavalcade of Calamity. It feels a little bit awkward in this archetype overall. While it did enable a nice aggressive draw for us in one of the games, I feel like this deck struggles to have all of its synergy pieces come together, and Cavalcade is a card that's not really a synergy piece for us. Also, knock on wood, I have been in 3 different car accidents that have all totaled vehicles, and have managed to not break anything. Have I mentioned that I am lucky professionally? It's what I do as a job. Yes, three different car accidents at various points in my lives that totaled vehicles. But I never broke anything, so, you know, incredibly fortunate. Hoping to draw a Mayhem Devil. An Anax would be absurd here. Anax would really feed our priest, and our priest is so hungry, chat. Wants to taste those sweet, sweet satyrs. You know, I would believe that, Cody. For 2 of the 3 accidents that I was in growing up, I was in the back seat. The answer to how do we get to any particular state on this stream is generally Benjamin. Benjamin convinces me to do terrible, terrible things, chat. You definitely couldn't have picked a better time to resub, Spell Stutter Tyke. Quite the tyke you are. That's not the droid I'm looking for. I think I'm going to go ahead and offer the trade of the priest for the druid here. Get in these extra points of damage. It cuts them off at the ramp pass if they trade the druid here, which I think is fine. The way this deck wins isn't nickel and dime damage, it's penny and penny damage. Slow and steady wins some races, I am told. So goes the fable. Crunchy, crunchy, crunchy. I'm so sorry that I missed your donation that popped up. Mono Blue Devotion sounds wonderful. We'll get that added to the stream title. How much to get me to stop? We only have one more match of wonderful, wonderful voice Jeff. The cat comes back the very same turn. Oh, the cat comes back. Do 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 do. Do 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 pew pew pew. They only have 3 cards in their graveyard, so they're still 3 cards off of escaping this Titan back and gaining more life that way, so it's not too big of a deal. Are you really okay with that, Crunchy? Because I would want to make sure Crunchy's okay with it.
The land fights for us.
If that sounds great, then the succulent tones of Jeff can roll on. This is the ride that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends. Get to go ahead and block here. The question is, can we draw a devil next turn so we can kill them before this Dream Trawler takes us to Pound Town? Mayhem Devil would be very, very lethal here. That's confirmation worth every penny. Thank you for the absurd support, Zephyr. I appreciate that. Resub for the exemplary content. Thank you. Let's get you a sword for the exemplary support. Exemplary. Does drawing with the castle do anything? Can't hurt to find out. Did I miss drawing with the castle? What did I do last turn? Oh, I did miss it probably. I think we're dead. Let's concede this one and go on to one more match here. This was the freebie anyways, right? We just popped up to Plat or Diamond 2. Perfect. Yeah, I don't think I had the black source, right? Yeah, we just drew it. The castle. Activating the castle is essentially a triple black activation, chat. Because the castle is black and then it requires 2 more. Jaco Thuban, thank you for the 11 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. You were wondering why you couldn't hear Jeff in the other room anymore. Don't worry, I'm still here. Still here. You know, it's funny, I'm speaking lower, but the microphone is closer to my mouth. So on my audio mixer, the levels are approximately the same as when my mic is further back and I'm projecting. So in theory, it should be a very similar level to normal. This sounds excellent. I really just want to get Cat plus Anax going. The cat just gets Anax in the forge so excited. Gets him thoroughly hardened. That was a phenomenal draw. Normally, if this was a game 1, I would fetch right away for that succulent auto pass value. Is this harder on my voice than when I stream in a normal voice? I don't believe so, but I've also never done this for an extended amount of time, so we're just here experimenting together, chat. Now, the opponent is particularly aggressive, and there's a little mayhem in our lives. A little bit of mayhem in my life, a little bit of familiar by my side, a little bit of Anax in the forge, a little bit of light the stage up some more. Do 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 do, beep 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 do 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 do. Please don't cleave me, opponent. Beep 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 beep. We might actually even be able to beat the cleave here on the back of the devil. On the back of the devil, we might yet win this game. Occasionally my freestyle lines up well and it rolls off the tongue. Just sometimes. Gobble gobble. Devil got back, chat. Doo-doo-doo-doo. If they can kill the devil in response, we're going to be in a lot of trouble here. But I need to wait to use the devil and the kitty to kill their things because I don't want them sliding this sword around. Our life total currently says 5. But the cat's going to come into play twice, so we are currently at a virtual 7. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. That actually isn't that big of a deal. We actually aren't going to take any damage this turn because Kitty's going to go. So, they get to go ahead and attack here. I'm going to go ahead and block this champion with my pretty kitty. And then my kitty's going to bounce around and kill this champion. And we will take nothing. Champion can equip for free, but it does not allow you to equip at instant speed, which is an important distinction. You don't want to go too fast, chat. Don't go too fast. Put this towards adding Mono White and Naya Feather to Historic. Sounds fantastic. Thank you for the generous support, Wargy. Now, every time we sacrifice our pretty kitty, we're going to get a 1/1 out of it. Isn't that wonderful? If they have a second copy of Embercleave in their hand, we could potentially get into some trouble here. Oh no, do we just die to this? Is this lethal? It's not quite lethal, right? So if I put this here, the extra damage does not trample over. So if I block Anax here, we're going to take a total of 5 damage. Oh no. Oh no, they rocked our rims, chat. They rocked our rims. I think that's lethal. So we get to do this. And then, yeah, that's very, very lethal, right? That's unfortunate. Gotta give me the old rimmer. Won't be rimmed again. Alright, so what are we doing here? In the red matchup, I believe we pull out Chandra. We get to bring in Lava Coil. We get to bring in Bedevil. Bedevil, these give us ways to kill Torbran, and then Bedevil can also kill Embercleave before we get fully taken to Cleveland. That seems fine. Thanks for 6 months, gameplay, and commentary on life. Why are we whispering? Because sometimes streaming isn't just about the magic, it's about the performance art, chat. It's about the performance art. This hand is excellent. We have some Grims along with a priest, and then Mayhem Devil as well. My opponent is pausing like they have priority. Had my opponent not shocked here, I think I would play the Grim Innate and then a tapped land, but because they went ahead and blew their load already, we get to go ahead and just put the priest into play. Do they have a stomp? Stompity, stomp, stomp, stomp. Get to go ahead and play Mayhem Devil out here and attack. I'm so glad we can pay you to do things that feed our warped desire for entertainment. I agree. I think because I have this castle in play, my goal here is to just get my hand empty as fast as possible. That being said, I'm going to attack with this first, because in the event that they block, my Bonecrusher Giant can finish this off, which would be nice. If they don't block here, I believe I'm just going to go Bonecrusher plus Grim, get my hand empty so I can start drawing with cards relatively pain-free. Stop giving Jeff money. Don't worry, it's just one more, and then we'll be back to normal, excited, shouty Jeff. Hoping to draw a removal spell for Torbran. Games generally don't last long while this card's in play. Kitty means I can play this card, play my land, and then draw a card with my castle still, but in the event that our opponent takes us to Cleveland, we're mostly just going to be up a creek here. Poor devil. The question is, do they have another removal spell for Bonecrusher? That's worrisome because now they can attack with their Bonecrusher, and if I block this, their Hardened in the Forge gives them 2 tokens. And those tokens are made better by Torbran. Another land, you say? I think I'm just chump blocking here. I think the line is play this and then draw a card. While I could play a tapped land, I think my best possible chance to win this game involves drawing a spell that I can cast here. He says before he draws another land. And their last card's always Cleveland, right? It's never not Cleveland. Oh no. Here we go. Do 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 do. Hi ho, hi ho. Boo doo boo doo boo boo. Boo doo 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 doo. I think I would like to try one more match with this deck. I felt like we ran pretty thoroughly below average there, and would like to have a chance to redeem myself. I also haven't really gotten to experience Cat Oven with Anax yet, so I'd like to see how that feels. I feel like there's a very real chance that this format is... what's the best way to phrase it? This format's a little bit too brutal for that kind of value engine to be truly relevant, and our deck isn't particularly good at getting Anax to 4 devotion, so it's frequently a small creature in this deck. This hand seems fine. I think I bottom the second priest here, hoping that this light up the stage can give us an extra look towards extra land drops this game. Chandra after priest sounds wonderful. Looks like a control matchup. This will be a place where our Chandras really shine. So far we've played against a lot of really aggressive decks where Chandra has not been particularly stellar. Really hoping to draw an untapped land here. Feels magic, man. I suppose we can play the pretty kitty and then play light up the stage. We're on fire. Ho 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 do 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 do. I don't know that I've been a fan of these copies of Light Up the Stage in this deck so far. I feel like every time I'm casting Light Up the Stage, I'm just looking for land. So I kind of feel like playing the 23 lands would probably be more ideal. The Cavalcades have also been kind of middling. This Aristocrat style deck is always a deck that's kind of pulling in a lot of directions and doing a lot of different things. And I feel like adding this into the mix as well is making it try and do too much. I'm glad you're enjoying the Banned Enchantments deck we played this morning. It did feel very, very reasonable in the games that we played. Drill Bit sounds wonderful. Bonecrusher is probably not particularly good. Tibalt against their Absorb deck, and likely Dream Trawler. Experimental Frenzy seems fine against Control. Priest is probably a card I want to leave in, because not only can it generate card advantage for us, but it's also possible for her to kill a Dream Trawler in specific situations. What were the changes to Banned Enchantments? We cut Curious Obsession because that deck really didn't feel like it needed a way to draw additional cards. However, we kept the blue-white enchantment because gaining life with it was frequently quite good. This hand seems very reasonable. We're going to go ahead and lead on a Scorch Spitter here so we can pump out as much damage as quickly as possible. I admire your self-control to keep on with the voice compared to your normal voice. When I make a commitment, I stick to it. My name is not Donald Trump. My words have meaning, and they try their best to be honest whenever possible. Start by attacking here. The scarier response would have been, this is my normal voice. You're not wrong. I think post-combat we're going to go ahead and play a Pretty Kitty, and then we're going to play Kroxa, and then we're going to sack the Pretty Kitty and the Kroxa to my Priest of the Forgotten Gods. We're going to go ahead and get in full control here. Priest likes to be in control, chat. Always make sure she gives you a safe word. Tomato Fresco, thank you for the 8 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Never is it truer than on days like today that when people ask me what I do for a living and I respond with, I live stream myself on the internet doing things that people give me money to do with my body, more true. Artropia felt very reasonable, Wargy. I'm going to go ahead and put this into play. Might gobble up that Scorch Spitter and bring the Cauldron Familiar back. That was a phenomenal draw. I'm excited for Chandra to get absorbed. I think I just attack for 3 here. We are up to 3 cards total in the graveyard, but notable that that 3 includes my Kroxa here and my Pretty Kitty. So need to wait to bring the big bad Titan back so he can swallow the world. Okay, Castle gives us something to do with our mana at least. Pretty sure we just attack them with both of these. going to go ahead and draw a card now, because we could draw a red 1-drop or an oven. We unfortunately did not have the option to leave a black source up, because we only have 3 black. Now, they did send the Teferi up, hoping that it would be a distraction. However, we are focused on the goal. 8 points of life there. The Teferi could be them looking to instant speed sweep this turn. They could shatter us complete, chat. I think because I'm expecting a Shatter the Sky here, I'm actually going to eat my priest at end of turn. Hopefully she doesn't mind being eaten. Now they opted to shatter on their turn, which gives me the ability to bring the cat back and then attack with it, which is nice. Those 2 cards entering my graveyard, in addition to this Fabled Passage, will allow me to drill their bits next turn. Good quality turn there, getting to eat the priest and then drill their bits. Excellent. I think the devil changes my plans. Show me your bits. They see me trawling. Do do do. Boo do 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 do. Very smart in the opponent's part here, sacrificing their Fabled Passage in response to the Mayhem Devil. That's one I've definitely messed up a number of times before. How do you know it's really me? It's not really me. I've been kidnapped. Send help. I think I search for an additional black source here, so this way I can castle and then still have both colors of mana available. It's possible that I should even sacrifice the Mayhem Devil here, just because it would deny them a draw with the Teferi, but I do get to put them to 2 with the Pretty Kitty, which is nice. Don't worry, Andy. I will give folks a nice big warning before we return to our normal voice. I don't want to blow out any headsets. Gotta save my precious breath here. Alright, that pop might have been a little louder than I intended it to be. Apologies. I think I'm happy with how we sideboarded. I'm going to go ahead and run it back. It's quite possible that Experimental Frenzy is not very good in this deck. The more I think about it, if you look at our deck here, Experimental Frenzy is a card that excels when our deck has a lot of cheap cards that we can rapidly play off the top of our deck in a quick succession. And this deck has a lot of 3-mana spells in it, which makes this a little bit less than ideal, I think. Especially when we don't have something like Runaway Steamkin to power it out. This hand seems fine. We go ahead and drop the cat here on 1, and then hopefully the cat can get in on 2, and we can drill into their bits. Hoping to hit a couple of running lanes here, so we can curve some planeswalkers out, and then we'll potentially get to see if this frenzy is going to be good in action or not. I'm fairly certain my mic supports stereo recording, but I'm also not certain if it's configured for that, or even if it was, if I would be using it appropriately. Oh Omen of the sea, omen of the sea, doo 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 doo. Boo doo 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 boo doo 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 doo. I apologize. My 5-year-old has been on a Disney kick recently. I really enjoy the movie Moana, but the 30th time I might enjoy it less. Except for the crab. The crab is excellent. He's very shiny. Missing on the land here feels like the death knell. What else can we say except you're welcome? I should probably sit down and watch that movie with him start to finish at one point. I've seen all of the scenes probably a dozen times, but always in disjoint order as I'm coming in and out of whatever room that he's watching it in.
You show remorse. I'll this might be a bad idea.
I mean, to be fair, $100 is on the upper echelon of the price of making Jeff do things. I'm a pretty cheap date, chat. So, I feel like I have two takeaways from this particular build of Aristocrats. The first is that I feel like it's trying to do too many things. So my first comment is these cavalcades need to go. My second thought is that especially when we have access to these castles that are really useful utility lands, not playing 22 or even 23 lands is a mistake. I think it's probably worth exploring playing more copies of Light Up the Stage, but a number of the games that we lost in the set, we just didn't get to play Magic, and the number of 3-mana spells that this deck is playing, even Giant's a 3-drop a lot of the time, alongside just 20 lands is just not enough. I kind of wish I would have added lands before the set, but this deck was doing so many things that I really wasn't sure what I wanted to cut to fit them in, and I wanted to play some games with those different things to see how I felt about them. I feel like from those games alone, I don't know that I really have enough to get a good read on this card. I also kind of feel like these Grim Innates and Scorch Spitters along with the Cavalcade, if I get rid of the Cavalcade, I can probably cut these cards. I feel like playing these 1-drops alongside the Hardened in the Forge is a good example of something that we talk about frequently, which is playing bad cards to make your card that's already good better. And while these cards are kind of okay in aggressive red decks, the appeal to this deck is supposed to be, while it can occasionally be aggressive, it has some grinding and some staying power, and the overall power of our deck is decreased by a lot when we dilute it with some of these more low quality cards. Likewise, I think these frenzies, even with additional lands to cast them more consistently, I think these are probably not the direction you want to go in the sideboard. Alright, so normally I show the next deck, I tease you a little with it before we dive into it, but we had to cut the line from the ever generous crunchy. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll here, and when we get back, we are going to play some more mono blue devotion in the succulent tones here on Hoaglandia. Thanks for keeping me around, folks. Hopefully see y'all in a couple of minutes.